Hey gardeners, Amy here with Garden Up. I purchased a bunch of Gaura, or Gaura, depending on how you like to pronounce it, as an annual for my pots. But here's the thing, if these are in ground and protected, they can come back, they can be perennials. So I really want to protect these this year, so I'm going to get them in the ground, and I'm going to do that today. So it's the middle of November, the ground's not frozen yet, so it's not too late to plant. So I may already be too late for some of these. This one looks okay. It's a little bit droopy, but it's not desiccated, it's not dry and crispy. It doesn't look dead. This just looks like it's going dormant. Some of the other ones, not so much, so I may already be too late. But the ground's not frozen, so I'm gonna go ahead and plant. Basically, I'm just gonna pop them out of the pot and put them right here. I have this much space to work with, and then hopefully next year I have a whole wave of pink right here. It'll just be gorgeous. There we go. This one has a couple of girdling roots that I didn't break up when we planted. Because this is a perennial now, I want to make sure these roots are spread out, not twisting and girdling, so they don't just tie themselves in knots and basically commit suicide later. So this one might still be okay. I'm not sure. We'll find out in the spring if it comes back or not. This actually has some basal growth down here. So this top growth I know will die back in the winter, but I think this one's actually going to be okay because it's already coming back from the base. These ones I'm pretty sure are already dead because I don't water this very much once it starts to cool off, and it's a little bit dry. And for the most part, many plants going into the winter are more likely to die because of drought or lack of water than they are of the cold. So here's another little pro tip for you. If you're coming into winter and you have a bunch of even xeric and drought tolerant plants, give them one good drink before winter if the sky doesn't. Like right now we're getting plenty of water, so I'm not too worried about it. But if it wasn't raining right now, I would probably do one more deep water before winter. Okay, this one actually does have some more basal growth coming up. So I think it might be okay too. Yay! So this one's pretty desiccated up at the top. It's very dry, it's kind of crispy. It has one, maybe two little points of new growth down here towards the base, but nothing really at the base. So I'm not sure on this one. It may or may not come back, but if it's in the ground and covered up with some mulch, it might be okay. We will find out in spring. This one I'm 90% certain is dead. We're still gonna plant it because plants are amazing and they can come back from almost certain death, but I don't see one little point of life. So maybe. Yay! Oh, this is exciting. This one has a little bit of life left down here, so I think it'll be okay too. Wow, this is so great! So I had my nieces help me plant these, and I thought I made sure they broke up the root balls, but clearly not. But for annuals, it's not that big of a deal. It's only for perennials that you really need to worry about making sure the roots are not tangled and root bound. I still break up my annual roots, but it's not the end of the world if they're twisted. But since I'm going to try to get these to come back as perennials, it's rather important that their roots are healthy and going in healthy positions. This is not healthy. Wow, beautiful. Oh, this is so good. I was almost certain this one was done for. But look at all this growth down here. That is excellent. Okay, let's dig this up. This root has literally tied itself in a knot. It's an overhand knot. This is what's happening right here. You'll also notice that I am planting these right next to the edge of my garden. And these are really tall plants. They're not something you'd usually put right on an edge. But I am planning on removing some more grass next year, and this will just pretty much guarantee that I have to. It'll force me to do it because otherwise these will be tall and leaning over into the lawn. So I'll probably adjust this edge next season. So most Gauras are zoned somewhere between 5 and 7 and up to like 9 or 10. These ones are said, on the tags it says zone 6 to 9, and Spokane is technically a zone 6B. But the thing is, that's a recent change. We used to be solidly zone 5 with microclimates of zone 4, and I don't buy it yet. I don't think that we are a zone 6 without taking precautions, and so I still plan my gardens to be zone 4 or 5, and if I do plant zone 6 plants, I make sure to protect them. So I cover them with pine needles or leaves, or in this case I'm probably going to do both because I have them both available, and that keeps those crowns nice and warm all winter and protects them from the cold, because in this case it's the cold that's going to get them and kill them if anything does. Wrap a little blanket of pine needles around the base. Hey gardeners, so it's been about 10 months since we planted these. It's currently the middle of June of the following year, and I got 2 back. I'm pretty sure we planted 7. I see the remnants of 3 others that didn't come back, but I did get 2. And so that's better than nothing. Not perfect by any means, but again, I did try to transplant them really late in the season. They had already died back on the tops. There was a lot of growth on the bottom, so I was really reassured when I was putting them in the ground, but it may have still been too late for them. And we had a really strange winter. We had a really mild winter, really mild, like not even below 0. It was mid-30s all winter, right until about the 3rd week of January, I think it was. And then we had a sudden, frigid cold snap. It dropped down to below 0 Fahrenheit for over a week with no transition. It just literally went from above freezing to 0. And the plants didn't have any chance to harden off or acclimate or anything. There was no adjustment period. It just happened literally overnight. And so that caused quite a bit of damage to several plants. It shouldn't have affected these because of how deeply they were buried under pine needles, but there was also no snow cover, so there was no additional insulation. So I still say getting 2 back from something that should have been an annual otherwise is still, in my world, a success. Yay! I highly recommend doing it. If you want to save your Gaura for next year, make sure to bury them deeply in pine needles and make sure they're planted in a good spot where they're protected. To follow up with my earlier comment about expanding my lawn, obviously I did a little bit more than just expanding the beds a little bit. I just took out the whole thing. So that video is coming soon as I can finish editing it, and you'll get to see the awesome transformation of my front yard. And that's my follow-up for this video. I hope you learned something. If you liked it, make sure to hit the like button. If you have any questions, leave them in a comment down below. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe so you get more gardening content in your video feed every week. Thanks so much, guys. I'll see you in the garden.